Welcome to today's Explainer. Did you know that most of the fresh water we need to survive is actually hidden completely out of sight? It's true. We're going to explore a secret world right beneath where we stand. It's the amazing world of groundwater. See, most of our planet's fresh water fills up these tiny spaces and little cracks in soil, sand, gravel, and rock underground. Even though we usually can't see it, this groundwater is absolutely one of Earth's most important freshwater resources.
So, have you ever wondered what exactly happens to a raindrop after it hits the dirt? Well, when rain and melting snow fall down to the ground, some of that water just flows into rivers and lakes. But actually, a whole lot of it slowly soaks right down into the earth. It moves downward, squeezing through all those tiny spaces between the soil and rocks, and it just keeps going down, down, down until it hits a layer of solid rock that it simply cannot pass through. Since it's trapped, the water collects right above this solid layer, and boom, it becomes groundwater.
Imagine we grabbed a giant shovel and started digging way down into the earth. We'd actually see a bunch of different layers. First, there's the soil at the very top. That's where the grass grows. Right below that, we find sand and gravel. Now, water moves really easily through sand and gravel because there are plenty of open spaces between all those little rocks. Finally, way at the bottom is that solid rock layer we just talked about. And here's a cool word for you: aquifer. An aquifer is that special underground layer made of sand, gravel, and rock that safely stores all this hidden water.
Now, interestingly enough, not all groundwater is exactly the same. We actually have a few different types. First, there's near-surface water, which is found just barely below the ground. Then we reach something called the water table. You can think of the water table as the very top level of that main groundwater area. Go a bit deeper, and you'll find confined water, which is water safely trapped between heavy layers of solid rock. And finally, there's artesian groundwater. This one is super cool. It's water that's kept under a lot of high pressure underground. Sometimes, if a well is drilled right into it, this water has so much pressure it shoots up to the surface all by itself. Literally, just like a giant fountain.
So, how does all this hidden water actually come back up to us? Well, in nature, groundwater reaches the surface in a few really amazing ways. For example, a natural spring is simply a place where groundwater flows right out of the dirt to form a small pool or stream. And sometimes, this deep underground water gets heated up by the natural heat inside the earth. When that hot water bubbles up, we get beautiful hot springs and blowing geysers. Also, as water travels slowly through rocks over a long time, it picks up healthy natural minerals. That's exactly where we get mineral water, which is super refreshing to drink.
The really crucial point here is that all of this is a continuous, beautiful journey. It's a huge cycle. First, rain falls from the clouds. Next, the water soaks deep into the ground. Then it moves deeper and deeper through the tiny pores in the rocks. After that, it's safely stored underground in an aquifer. And finally, the water slowly flows back out into human-made wells, rivers, lakes, and those natural springs. It's a complete cycle happening right beneath our feet, every single day, without us even noticing.
You might be asking yourself right now, well, how far down is this water? Honestly, it depends. Some groundwater is incredibly shallow. We can reach it by digging a well that's just a few meters deep. But other groundwater is extremely deep, resting thousands of meters below the surface. Here's a neat rule. The deeper the water is, the longer it's been trapped down there. And the longer it stays trapped underground, the more natural minerals it usually collects from the surrounding rocks.
Okay, let's dive into why this matters so much for all of us. Why is groundwater so absolutely crucial? Well, first off, it provides clean drinking water for millions of people all around the world. It's also used heavily on farms to irrigate the crops, which grows the food we eat every day. Out in nature, groundwater is what keeps our rivers, lakes, wetlands, and forests alive, especially when it's not raining. It supports plants and animals literally everywhere. Factories use it to build things, and in some places, the really hot underground water even gives us clean geothermal energy to power our homes. Now, here is a really cool secret about nature. Groundwater moves very, very slowly. Unlike a fast-moving river on the surface, water underground has to squeeze through tiny little cracks in solid rock. So water near the surface might move a few meters in a few days. But deep underground, it can take years, hundreds of years, or even thousands of years for water to travel from the surface down to those deep layers. Think about that. That means some of the deep water we find today actually fell as rain thousands of years ago. How amazing is that? Because this groundwater moves so incredibly slowly, it's very, very hard to clean once it gets dirty. So, we all need to do our part to help protect it. And we can do this by taking some really simple, positive actions. For starters, we must keep our rivers and land clean and do everything we can to reduce pollution. We always need to safely treat our dirty wastewater and avoid dumping any harmful chemicals onto the ground. Also, just doing something as simple as using water wisely at home helps make sure there's enough clean water for everyone in the future. Every little bit counts.
To really wrap our heads around how huge this invisible world is, consider these amazing facts. Did you know that about 30% of all the fresh water on Earth is actually groundwater? 30%! That is a massive amount of water. Also, many large rivers keep flowing during hot, dry summer seasons only because hidden groundwater is feeding them from below. Even extreme, super dry deserts depend almost completely on deep groundwater for their plants and animals to survive. It truly is nature's hidden hero.
We've learned so much in this explainer today. Our main takeaway is this: even though we usually can't see it, groundwater supports entire ecosystems every single day. Out of sight should definitely never mean out of mind. So I want to leave you with this final thought. The next time you turn on the tap to drink a glass of water, ask yourself, did this water just fall from the sky last week, or was it raining down while the ancient pyramids were being built? Groundwater is hidden, but it gives life. Protect every drop. Thank you so much for exploring with me today.